Hello and welcome back to Of the Devil. I am no longer sick, so I have the brain capacity to try to continue this. Because as you saw with whatever last video I had, I was not all there. But yeah. I'm still working on testing out some recording settings because I keep wanting— I've had some videos that I've had to scrap, and it sucks because they're fun videos with friends, but they're exporting really large and rendering really large, so I'm trying to work on fixing that. So we'll see how it looks with like the next few videos. It seems to be fine so far, but I need to test it out with those other games. But for now, we're gonna continue with Of the Devil. We've done some investigating. We looked at the crime scene. That's what I remember last. I think what we came to the conclusion was that the bottle of whiskey couldn't have been poisoned, as far as we know. I actually wonder if something was like, maybe what was poisoned was something that was like put into the drink at a later point, maybe? Because people like to prepare their liquor in different ways, so maybe, I don't know. That's all we really got. We don't have a lot, because as far as everyone knows, Asher took his own life. Anyways. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger. There's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? What's got them all so excited? Adonai? What does that symbol mean? This rabble? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. Ooh, is it heartbreak? I don't know. It's probably nothing. Ooh. I wonder if this means that people are speculating the heartbreak killer got David. Oh my god, my cat's being annoying.
Why are you annoying?
That's the only thing that symbol can mean. Ooh, wait, where's my— I need to make sure to be— yeah. Based on the net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the heartbreak killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Or would that freak have a symbol or following? Or these— whatever these people are. Bro, she's so pissed. Pretending to be unbothered. Why the hell would they be outside David Asher's apartment? Snowball's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs and they are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try to catch them when they go to the dump scraps. Sarah. What are you hoping to find? Proof that Asher was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle? Heartbreak? Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient homicidal. You think that heartbreak is an android? Think whoever did all that was human? It's so funny with that dramatic irony of it's Morgan, and she's just like Noble's advanced prototypes went amok and started killing random people. Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. There's a clear pattern as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Morgan's just fucking offended, like, bitch, it was random. I'm just fucking killing people. Just having the she's trying so hard not to be bothered. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging. Smart kid, she gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. They must all have been in DO together before getting their records bleached. And as soon as they've outlived their usefulness. What are you, nuts? Everyone knows this first 6 HKs got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Worm android so perfect no one could tell the diff. Bullet to the heart's the only way he could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Brent's got a goddamn opinion. I see. Stop saying, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you could be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on hard coke crops? Putting something in the food. Those people, heartbreak, this is goddamn embarrassment. How am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Ananai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. They'd be caught and sentenced like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? There's some reasons for committing murder better than others. They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have... Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. Yet there's only one heartbreak. So you think they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. Don't see why it would be. If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people have to ever worry about turning out like them. It's kind of predestination. It means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. Because they can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them. You make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Yes? If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years in about 11 months. In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years? What's the significance of that number? That's within 18 months of the Lake Fort industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries, tack on another 183% for the birth defects, 413,000 dead, and there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing by comparison? Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs. Fascists. Noble owns the cops. Only the cops they build in... Oh, this is London. Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are they tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong? You know what I mean. The only people in the city trying to do some goddamn good and they all just... They're just part of the job, detective. No offense, man, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more than hate them. They give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. Do you ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. Breaking out the thesaurus on me. I'm only being realistic and humble. Just one moment, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than a % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. You tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. Terms are stark. The ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. The very least we could do is take their criticism head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged. They treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. So if any given individual is supposed to ever affect change, so if the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do, and if corporations and governments will trample over people the same regardless of their character, can't even be sure we're doing the right thing. What do you do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is, the only moral way to act is, do whatever it takes to win. Oh, now that! Hell yeah! Oh, they're so in love with each other, it's insane. Don't they both walk into each other, lips first, on accident, I mean. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I could do my worst and no one will notice. Power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Despite with both barrels, I trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. I love them. I love Morgan and Emma. I think they're my favorites so far. They're both very different, but have such a similar mindset on things. Alright, 12:59 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Gatesfield Memorial Hospital. Oh, thank you, you're a lifesaver. Next time that Bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Freddy guy must have been due to go on break. He tried and failed to find the witness's medical record. Instead, a pad had the name blacked out. I did see that they have Codicius Executive 3, more expensive than David's, which means they most likely... How did you do that? I just love every time it just pans to this fucking big-eyed freak. This fucking bug. Need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing. That's not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with a few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone thinks. What anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble. That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation to practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says morgue on it. Hello? Oh, hey. Come on in, don't stay out there in the... Oh, cold wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here. I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. I didn't expect I'd get to it. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means. You could just call me Yumi, and you're Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Asher D. Wait, really? That's, weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who... I know. Weird, right? Oh, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Megs anyways. Gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Oh fuck, I just clicked read and went, oh no, this is another fucking media literacy test I have to pass. What's this? The hospital's getting renamed? No, because it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital named, I think... Icaria family. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Lauder Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Icaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredible generous donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in the name change after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrolifting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long ago that the Icaria Maybe I'm not over this head cold yet. Icaria were better known for drawing blood and donating it, back before the 50s. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Redigen Medical over 25 years ago and its subsequent sale, the Icaria have moved out of the business world and into the upper echelons of society. A society that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the Neobility, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century in the Red Decade. When asked her opinion on those who'd label her family House it's probably Icaria. I think that's probably the most accurate one. At the hospital's renaming ceremony, Redigen board member Mirai Icaria had this to say: "In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work. Block new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only one comfortable with that are..." Okay, so labeled her home. I'm guessing like the yellow text is like the most important text. Icaria, I guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a healthcare monopoly or new image. I would say new image. Yeah, because I would say new image. All the new abilities are eager to prop up their image whenever they can. Yeah, because they're trying to move on from the old reputation they had. I must go double for the Icarias. Assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. Sweet. That's a lot of screens. They've got to be diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. You can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back, there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere, and no one's ever corrected it. And so, boom, I get 4 new monitors every year. You run out of things to use them for? Sometimes, but this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing rote work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work. Helps me use the screens. I see. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. It only meant that I'm surprised to see them sorted here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. You only examine dead bodies for the police, doctor? Oh, I wish. Most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC. Climate change-induced complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to the otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% in the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just... so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. Just finishing up over there. Right, okay, so what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Well, hi there, cute android. I didn't even realize it was. Really cute. The skin is... but that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you could tell they really are warm. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flushed, felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted... Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case calls for expediency. Yes. Right. What can I tell you? Those are talk screens. We kind of know what the cause of death was, but let's see this one. The police mentioned a talk screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a talk screen when he first arrived, typical diagnostics intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something. The talk screen gave them nothing. After he died before the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples, compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history, and I managed to isolate a single non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to, and even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, and pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual privacy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later. Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart, using international IP laws as your own personal minefield. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formulae so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anyone small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago, and that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They punch back. For the rest of the field, wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now. So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance. Something that the hospital could have easily identified. If it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. Still, just because a drug is new doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance, one you might know by another name, but with a patented structure? Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places. The effect was unremarkable, but has its strength. Did you estimate how much of the stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no, not without detailed knowledge on its half-life. But I guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for medicines, this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then. No, not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Right, cause of death? Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure, we got that much figured out at least. But doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Asher died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally respiratory arrest. Reports show that the EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late. And you're certain of all this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it. Yeah, it turned into quite the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I'm surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but the files show he wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. I'm very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No ejection sites? Nothing in any cavities? Nothing at all, huh? Thank you, Yumi. Of course, so... You ready to view the body? We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm just cool with it. No particular reason. Okay then, let's get started. Time to look at the body. Right, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please, thank you. The last thing we talked about was on a Sunday. You're complaining, I remember that. The principle of the matter. Right, you had ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. It came damaged and you wanted to send it back for a refund. It only reminds you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. I kindly offered to throw it out for you, since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. Should have let you have that one. He would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale. He's very still. His face is the same. His hair, his hands. You're expecting something more drastic. Last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled. And he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. I can't find a difference. I'm trying to look harder. I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why was I created to not be capable? Could be an issue of skill. You can't just be like, skill issue! In like a weird time of morning for an android. Skissue! Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there, I guarantee it. Seen the transitions enough times to be sure that between life and death, distinction is significance. To the dead, at the very least. Trying to smoke? Here? Now? I'll pay the fine. Not the issue. Are you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Tokyo. Some don't grieve at all, it seems. Oh, my nose! I'm not completely over the cold. Oh man, like my nose just clogged up for a second. Oh god. I don't know what happened. Everyone just got like hit with like a cold. Cold woman, sorry to disappoint. I don't know if I sound nasally, I feel like I do. Hell. I don't want this thing light. And I? You have your cigarette backwards. Alright, that's back in cold storage for him, so... Anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth, let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, with hexagonal structure. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallical elements too. And if you had to speculate on its intended use based on what we know of its structure, or it's certainly acted like a depressant, binding into receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitters for uptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the deciders drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much needs to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. Let's see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Anything you need, give me a ring. It's very Rockford's orders got me on a call. Some are already getting overtime for the whole weekend. Glad to hear. Bye, Yumi. Say goodbye to you, Greedy. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Oh man, I'm only like 30 minutes in. I do kind of want to like stop because that was a pretty good stopping point, but I'm afraid of how much further it'll go. Well, we'll just get to the next. Once we get like the next like black screen or something. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed parts of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters, the likes of Howe Industries, Lock-on One, Hetheries, Heath, each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employees' accommodations beneath their skyscraper's shadows. Bellfall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerves center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today, I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David, his work on Sarah. Answered I get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis, relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk? Who they let me talk to? History. Their efforts at performative transparency, clumsy affectation will. How did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father, I know you were his friend, but what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media. And your online presence is not significant. You saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You study programming? No, I study all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though. He had talent, and you knew you wanted to do something with it. Studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share, then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burnt. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? Belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for his tech course. There's a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material. I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied though, wanting to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? I say something scandalous. He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. Wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance? Just to help him with studying? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast, because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo? He already knew the content as good he ever could. Wait, what the fuck? I just made up a whole sentence. He already knew the content as good he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just till it kicked in. And the test? B plus, I think. I'm surprised that father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, he kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published his paper, The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistics. Heuristics? One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing tests in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. Well, our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. At the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day, and tended corporate training at night. And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You're referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant. But anathema to a global corporation with supply chain designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. Obviously, they got it over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for a meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put down a payment to my apartment. Oh, my nose is clogging up again. It happens while I'm talking and then I just can't breathe. And made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So, is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were in fact friends? I am. But Ananai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell him that David's lawyer's here. I think that's a better stopping point. I need to do these in shorter segments just because it's just words. The Electronics Northeastern HQ. Sub lobby A8. Okay. I think that is a pretty good place to stop. That was a good, like, segment. Do I have anything else in here? Oh, so there's Sato. Oh. That's a character we haven't seen. That's another character we haven't seen. Wait. Just for Charmless is free. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. So we still... Like, they know how he died, but they also don't know how he died. We're getting nothing! We know nothing! I'm very curious, because it's such a... It's... Because we... So far, we don't really have any leads. They know how he died, but they don't know what killed him. Ooh. Rub my hands together. Oh. I'm trying to think. I mean, Even I don't know much. I can't piece together what it could possibly be. I guess we won't know much until we talk to whoever he was talking to that night. There had to have been something that happened. One small action or something. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out next time though. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.